What's going on, my people? It's PED Monday, my friends. It's PED Monday. As you guys know, man, we got clips of Jamal Charlo talking about SNAC. We're going to talk about that. But the main thing that's going on right now, Big JON McCARTHY from the Weighing In podcast just released a clip of him talking about Jon Jones sexually touching somebody inside a locker room, my friends. Now, hey, I'm a big Jon Jones fan. I hate what he's doing to the UFC division, and I absolutely don't think it's right what he's doing to Tom Aspinall. I'm mad too. And I didn't want to believe that Jon Jones was a homosexual. You know, you see a lot of people kept on going with this and kept on going with this. And at the end of the day, I was like, come on, man, this guy could pull more girls than all of us. But the allegations and the proof that is starting to come out against Jon Bones Jones, my friends, I think I'm starting to fall into that side, man. I think I'm starting to believe it. As you guys know, Big JON McCARTHY just dropped a podcast on the Weighing In where he was talking about Jon Jones sexually touching somebody. Check it out.
In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and was working for the commission. And he says, is someone getting on the ground for me, right? And so this guy, being a ground guy and being someone that was, man, I'm in Jon Jones's locker room. This is great. And so he says, oh, I'll do it for you. He says, you know, I know how to roll. And so he goes down. He says, just put me in guard, right? And then Jon decides to do a sexual act with him, saying, what if I do this, right? This isn't illegal, right?
And this is big news to talk about right now, my friends, as we're coming off one of the worst UFC cards of the year, my friends. And we're coming off literally the worst month of the year. May was probably the worst UFC month that we've ever had in UFC history, my friends. Debate with me on that. But hey, guys, like I said, I want to know what Jon Jones did. He says that he did something to him sexually, as he asked the guy to get on the floor and put him in guard position. Jon Jones is on top. I wonder if Jon Jones put his finger in his butt. It was, that's why Jon McCARTHY said his eyes lit up as big as they did. Or I wonder if Jon Jones grabbed his wiener while he was on top of him in this position. Guys, I don't even know. But I got a couple things that I want to talk about with you guys. I think I have some proof on why I think Jon Jones might literally be turning homosexual, my friends. Now, let's pull up the proof. As you guys know, in 2015, Jon Jones got in trouble for, when he fought against the Daniel Cormier, doing cocaine before he went into that fight. He got busted for that, my friends, right? But if you guys take a look after that, what was going on in 2016 and 2017, he was getting busted for doing steroids, my friends. You had the anabolic steroids, and we're going to talk about that, the tumbunerol. I don't even know how to pronounce it. We're going to literally get into the drugs that he was taking. So here we go. Yes, like I said, in July 2016, Jones failed a drug test for two banned substances called chloromethine and letrozole, which resulted in his removal from UFC 200. That's when he was going to fight DC, my friends, in the rematch, right? Now, in these two drugs that he took, he said that he got these from a pill that he took, that he was going to use for sex. Specifically, that pill is used for erectile dysfunctions. But when you look at the ingredients that are in chloroform and letrozole, my friends, guys, there's some proof right here, man. Check a look at this. Letrozole is an aromatase inhibitor used in men for various reasons, including male infertility, male breast cancer, and potentially to promote growth in boys with idiopathic short stature, right? Now, it works by reducing the levels of estrogen in your body. Estrogen. Every single one of these drugs that I've seen Jon Jones take has to do with estrogen. Why is he taking things that works for guys in lowering estrogen levels? Is he producing too much estrogen? Is Jon Jones not producing enough testosterone and using, anti-estrogen drugs to help him? Is there something wrong with them? Now, as you guys know, there's side effects to letrozole and there's side effects to all these drugs. Guys, hormone deficiencies. All these things that he's taking in are messing with Jon Jones' hormones, my friend. This whole time, Jon Jones has been secretly bisexual. Now, guys, let me start off by saying, if this is true and Jon Jones ends up being bisexual, it doesn't really bother me. I really don't care. At the end of the day, he's still one of the greatest to ever live. It'll just be crazy in big news, my friends. Guys, these drugs that Jon Jones is taking is, I don't know, man. It feels like they all have to do with something with his hormones, right? And then the cocaine addiction that he had, you know, when he was doing cocaine. Who knows how long he was doing these cocaines? Now, I'm going to show you guys a video of JON CHARLO talking about how SNAC utilizes getting away with their fighters being on steroids, my friend, specifically Canelo. You know, Eddie Reynoso's camp is just caught with 5 different people that have all got busted with PEDs in their systems, my friend, and they're all in their SNAC. You guys, Jon Jones may be turning homosexual, man. You know, he's in Thailand. He's over there with Nate Diaz. He's swimming with a bunch of guys. Now, what big JON McCARTHY has just dropped is absolutely ridiculous, my friends. Now, I don't know if my scientific knowledge of just doing a real quick survey and checking out the drugs, you know, and the side effects of all the drugs that he's taken and got busted for in his career would help that argument. But, you guys, it doesn't defeat the argument that Jon Jones actually might be bisexual, man. Man, this is absolutely insane. At the same time, like I said, if he is, who cares? Just fight Tom Aspinall already, my guys. Now, hey, there is news on that. You guys have seen that Tom Aspinall recently had just said at a seminar that he can't talk about Tom Aspinall anymore. Jon Jones can't talk about Tom Aspinall because it's legally now. He could get legally sued. Meaning that him and Tom Aspinall have spoken to the UFC, and Jon Jones referenced how it's up to them now to release any UFC announcement. So I'm guessing that the fight is in the talks right now and is in the process of being made and may already be made. We're just waiting for a date on that, my guys. Now, hey, let's talk about JON CHARLO. As you guys know, man, he came in there and got that absolutely amazing victory over Thomas Lamana. He went in there and finished him in the 6th round in absolutely beautiful fashion, my friends. Now, you guys know a couple days before that, the last final press conference, JON CHARLO was giving his thoughts on the Canelo camp and his thoughts on SNAC and the thoughts on everybody on steroids. And JON CHARLO said something very, very interesting that I want to show with you guys on my channel that might be proof, and I'm on JON CHARLO's side on this, man, that it's very possible that Eddie Reynoso and whoever's under SNAC is literally using steroids, my friends. Now check out this clip.
You still feel like something's up with SNAC? No, you were the first one.
Yeah, I exposed them. I exposed them, right? I'm not the only person that exposed SNAC.
Yes.
Come on, man. Y'all keep I never lied to y'all in my career, bro.
So Caleb, think about Canelo and the PED usage, right? This is probably the 4th or 5th fight out of that camp that's come up hot for PEDs. Just what are your thoughts around that? And
I've been telling y'all about SNAC for a long time. Victor Conte them. All right, so like, all right, hear me out. No bullshit for real. They make the drug at the limit of non-responsible, all right? So like this right here, this level is you're banned. That's a banned substance. They will make the drug all the way up to the line of the banned substance, but it doesn't show, so it's not responsible. So they've been doing that shit for years, but now that they, you know, tapped into it, it's getting caught. Y'all think Canelo haven't been taking Clinton Bruderol for a long ass time? Y'all think he ain't back on that shit? Or y'all think it was just in the state? Because I go to Mexico all the time. I'm from Houston, from Texas. I'm in Mexico all the time eating steak. I ain't never got popped for no shit like that. Think about it.
you think these guys are?
If this is true, and that's actually how this is working, you know, SNAC actually has the scientific money and all this to be able to do something like that. And they are getting away with it. But every now and then, something is slipping through and something is popping through. You guys, I might look at Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reynoso and anybody who's ever fought in that camp completely different, my people. Now, Somebody needs to come out here and absolutely prove that this is correct, because what Jamar Charlo is saying, my friends, hey, if this is true, it is very possible that people in the UFC are also doing the same thing. Possibly Jon Jones in the heavyweight division. It is so possible that the science and everything, these guys are all using drugs, but are using tampering with it to be able to pass their drug test. You know what I mean? Guys, Jamar Charlo, what he has to say about SNAC and his performance that went down on Saturday. Still undefeated. Taking over boxing again, my friends. And we got Keyshawn Davis this weekend against Edwin De Los Santos, trying to prove a point to the world why he's the best, my friends. He's going to go in there. I already know what he has on his mind. It's that Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos fight. You guys remember that, man? That was Edwin De Los Santos' last fight, literally, you guys. Now, Shakur couldn't do nothing to him. It was an absolutely boring fight. You had the crowd booing every single minute of it. It was ridiculous. But don't get me wrong. As a boxing purist, it was a beautiful performance from Shakur Stevenson. Defensively, he was swimming without getting wet. But, you guys, Keyshawn Davis is a whole different monster with a whole different tenacity about him, man. And he's going to come in here. Edwin De Los Santos ain't no joke, man. This is a guy who's finished Jose Venezuela. And, you know, Jose just finished beating Pitbull Cruz not too long ago, who's a top-level fighter. You know what I mean? So, Edwin De Los Santos, man, can't come into this fight and put up a war against Keyshawn Davis. I have a feeling it's going to be a war. It's not going to be like that Shakur fight because Keyshawn comes to fight. But I think Keyshawn is going to go in there and put the world and put everybody on notice, my friends. I can't wait for that. Then, hey, we got UFC 316 with Rob versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. Man, I just got the UFC 5 game right now. We're literally about to connect it up right now. Got to go live. Hey, if you guys have the PS5 game, if you're trying to play live with MMA and Boxing Addicts, drop your name and the username in the comments. We'll set that up, my friends. And I can't wait for the week, man. We got some breaking news. What's going on with Jon Jones, Big John McCarthy, Jamar Charlo on the SNAC, Caleb Plant going down to Jose Armando. Wow, man. What a weekend. My name is Alex Ramos, and I'm out.